This is Girl here, and this is my review of 3 Gatsu no Lion Episode 6. So, at the beginning of this episode, Rei wants to go on a trip with everybody, and everybody has, their own idea of what they want to do. It's kind of funny because, Momo wants to go somewhere where she can eat a lot. At Kari, she wants to go somewhere where she can, be at a resort and be on the beach and just kind of hang out. And everybody's, kind of looking at her like she's strange, but, Rei kind of regrets it at the end of it because he doesn't really know where he would want to go. And then he kind of goes on his own and he's kind of reflective, even though, the beginning of the story basically says in the description that he's in a slump. We really haven't seen him actually lose, but we kind of learned that he hasn't really won major battles in a while. And he kind of compares himself to a guy that's considered the god of Soji, basically. He's someone that I guess he admires a lot, and unluckily he holds him to that standard because I guess there's only been a few people that have mastered Soji from a really young age, and Rei is one of those people, but he hasn't got to the master level yet. And what makes it worse is that his teacher kind of compares him to that, and he's a very direct person, so he's kind of saying, well, you haven't quite gotten to that level. You're a pro and all that, but you haven't quite gotten there. And then what makes it worse is that a lot of people are complimenting him and saying how he's really great, and all he hears is when people say compliments, it's almost like he hears the opposite. They're hidden taunts, or saying if they're telling him he's really great and you'll do it, it's really well, the way he hears it is that, yeah, you've been wasting a lot of time, you haven't really done anything. It's all backwards, just because he's so depressed and has no self-confidence in himself, and he's not appreciative of how much he's accomplished so far, that he's basically a pro and he has so much money from his earnings that he can live on his own, but he doesn't see it that way. And you get this really great visual of Rei is basically trying to do the status quo. He's just basically doing what he can but not really trying. And they show him in a visual of him swimming across a sea, and that once he gets to the land, which is basically his status quo, his version of the status quo, that he's gotten to an island, now he can just rest and do whatever. But what shakes that up is him meeting the sisters. They're like a sunny day in his cloudy world that he's made for himself. So he's starting to get influenced by them. We can see that when he meets Hina when he's going to go eat, and he meets her on the street, and he treats her to some food, and it's funny because she treats him kind of like a child that she's caring for, because she knows that he's been sad, and she remembers all the things that her siblings have said, so she wants to take care of him. And at the same time, Rei is embarrassed because someone younger than him is caring about him and worrying about him. But at the same time, he's kind of grateful, and he sees that he's not the only one that has problems, that everybody else has issues as well. So you can kind of see that Rei is kind of seeing the light a little bit, and hopefully that'll help him get out of that depression that he's in. It's funny at the end because at the end of the credits, and when we see the previews, Hina meets her crush at the restaurant that Rei and her are at, and from what we find out is that she's gonna somehow invite him to the house, so that's gonna be really awkward. Hopefully Rei and her sisters will help her out. I think it's kind of funny because it's almost the same dilemma as when she was trying to make the food for him earlier. This time he's at the house, so now she's trying to worry about what they should feed him. So hopefully it'll be a really funny episode. So like always, comment below, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you next time.